Imagine living a life where you are completely free, free from the burden of other people's judgments, free from the fear of rejection, and grounded in a deep, unshakable inner peace. Now picture that even in such freedom, the world around you remains loud, full of distractions, pressures, and people trying to influence your choices, pulling you away from your true self. How would you protect your peace amidst all that noise? Buddha offers us a path, a way to break free from the chaos and reconnect with our true power by focusing purely on our own journey. Today we'll dive into 10 powerful Buddhist teachings that show you how to let go of other people's opinions and fully reclaim your life. Number 1, stop depending on others for your happiness. Buddha said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." True happiness doesn't come from anyone else, not from their approval, their praise, or even their actions. It is something we must cultivate inside ourselves. When you rely on others to make you happy, you hand them the power to control your emotions. And because no one can be perfect all the time, disappointment is inevitable. Buddhism teaches us to find peace within, by becoming at ease with who we are, by appreciating the present moment, and by being grateful for what we already have. When we build our happiness from within, we create a foundation of peace that no one else can shake. Number 2, embrace solitude. True strength is found within. Buddha taught, meditate. Live purely, be quiet, do your work with mastery. Being alone isn't a weakness, it's where real power begins. In solitude, we find the space to truly understand ourselves. We can listen to our own thoughts without the noise of the world, reflect deeply, and grow both emotionally and spiritually. Spending time alone allows us to focus fully on personal growth, free from the need for validation or approval from others. When we learn to be at peace with our own company, we unlock a strength that no outside influence can touch. By embracing solitude, we learn to become our own best companion. In that quiet space, we uncover a deep inner strength and wisdom that carry us through life with greater confidence and clarity. Number 3, stop seeking validation from others. Buddha once said, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." The truth is, the only approval you truly need is your own, not anyone else's. When we constantly chase validation from others, through their praise, compliments, or acceptance, we lose sight of our true worth and allow our emotions to be controlled by outside forces. Buddhism teaches us that real confidence comes from within. You don't need someone else to tell you that you are enough. Start giving yourself the love, kindness, and respect you deserve. The more you practice self-acceptance, the less you will depend on others for validation, and the freer and happier you will become. Number 4, don't let rejection define you. Rejection is a natural part of life, but it does not define your value. It's easy to feel crushed when someone rejects you, but Buddhism offers a higher perspective. Instead of seeing rejection as failure, see it as redirection. Sometimes rejection is life's way of protecting you and guiding you toward something better. As Buddha said, at the end, only 3 things matter: how much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of things not meant for you. Letting go with grace is a path to peace. When you stop taking rejection personally, you protect yourself from unnecessary pain and open the door to better opportunities ahead. Let go, move forward, and trust that every no is simply steering you toward the right yes. Number 5, stop worrying about what others think. One of the biggest thieves of peace is worrying about other people's opinions. We often let their judgments shape our choices and emotions. But Buddhism reminds us, what others think says more about them than it does about you. The only opinion that truly matters is your own. Buddha advised, let no one find fault with others. Let no one notice the actions of others, but focus on your own deeds. When you keep your attention on your own journey, you free yourself from the exhausting need to impress or explain yourself. People's opinions are out of your control, and trying to live up to everyone's expectations will only drain your spirit. Release the fear. When you stop worrying about how others see you, you begin to live fully as your authentic self. Number 6. Don't sacrifice your peace just to please others. Many of us fall into the habit of trying to make everyone around us happy, whether at work, with friends, or in our families. But constantly putting others' needs above your own eventually leads to exhaustion, resentment, and inner turmoil. No matter how hard you try, you will never be able to please everyone. Buddha wisely said, "Better than 1,000 empty words is one word that brings peace." This reminds us that maintaining our own peace is far more important than winning everyone's approval. Buddhism encourages compassion, but not at the cost of your mental and emotional well-being. It's healthy to set boundaries. It's okay to say no. When you protect your peace, you show up in the world with more strength, love, and authenticity. Remember, the calmer your mind, the less you'll feel the need to seek external approval. Honor your peace, and you'll find greater harmony both within yourself and in your relationships. Number 7. Focus on what's within your control, yourself. Much of our frustration comes from trying to control what we simply cannot. We want people to behave a certain way. We want life to unfold according to our plans, and we want outcomes to match our expectations. But Buddhism teaches a profound truth. Real peace begins when you stop trying to control everything outside of you and start focusing on what's within, your own thoughts, choices, and actions. Trying to control what's beyond us only leads to frustration and suffering. The truth is we cannot control other people's actions, thoughts, or feelings. The only thing truly within our control is ourselves, our thoughts, our actions, and our reactions. Buddha wisely said, "Control your mind, or it will control you." This reminds us that the mind is incredibly powerful. When we master our own thoughts and emotions, we take back control over our lives. Instead of wasting energy trying to change others or force situations, shift your focus inward. Ask yourself, how can I improve my reaction? How can I grow stronger? How can I find peace even when the world feels chaotic? When you start focusing on what you can control, your mindset, your habits, your attitude, you build resilience. External events, no matter how chaotic, will no longer steal your peace. Imagine the freedom that comes when you stop trying to manage everything outside of you. The moment you truly accept that you are only responsible for your own energy, you reclaim your power. This simple shift leads to a more peaceful, fulfilling life, where decisions are made from a place of inner strength, not stress or fear. You become calm even when life is noisy. You become steady even when circumstances are shaky. And something amazing happens. When you work on yourself, you naturally inspire others. Your calm energy becomes contagious, quietly encouraging those around you to reflect and grow too. This practice is not about disconnecting from the world, it's about wisely choosing where to invest your energy. And once you master your reactions, external challenges will no longer shake your foundation. That's where true strength and freedom are born. Number 8. Understand that most people are focused on themselves, not you. It's easy to think that everyone is watching us, judging our every move. But the truth is, most people are too busy with their own lives to pay close attention to ours. This realization is incredibly liberating. The fear of judgment, worrying about how we look, talk, or act, often holds us back from being our true selves. We create imaginary pressure that doesn't really exist. Buddhism invites us to release that unnecessary burden and live with more freedom. Buddha said, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it." In other words, our true work is internal, tearing down the walls of fear, insecurity, and self-judgment we have built. Everyone is walking their own path, facing their own struggles. They are far more concerned with their own journey than analyzing yours. When you realize this, you step into a new level of freedom, living authentically without the heavy weight of imagined judgment. Most people are completely absorbed in their own goals, dreams, and struggles. They are too busy navigating their own lives to spend much time thinking about you. Instead of worrying about others' opinions, focus on discovering and living your own path. Once you realize that people aren't judging you nearly as much as you believe, it feels like a huge weight has been lifted off your shoulders. You no longer feel the pressure to constantly live up to their expectations, and you can finally redirect all that energy into becoming the best version of yourself. Think about it. How much time do you spend worrying about what others think, compared to how much time you focus on your own hopes and challenges? Just like you, most people are wrapped up in their own fears, ambitions, and insecurities. They have little time or space to scrutinize you. Understanding this gives you incredible freedom. You can live more authentically, make decisions that truly align with your spirit, and pursue your dreams without being held back by imaginary judgment. Buddhism teaches the power of non-attachment, not only from material things, but also from the opinions of others. When you let go of the need for external approval, you start living from a place of truth. Instead of fearing judgment, focus on your own growth. This mindset shift naturally leads to more confidence, deeper inner peace, and a life less burdened by unnecessary worries. It's also important to remember, everyone you meet is carrying their own battles. Just as you have your own struggles, they have theirs too. Recognizing this fosters empathy and makes it easier to release the fear of being judged. When you stop obsessing over what others think and focus on your personal development, you'll feel a lightness and freedom you may have never experienced before. You'll feel more empowered, more joyful, and more in control of your destiny. This realization that people are too busy with their own lives to constantly judge you sets you free to take bigger risks, pursue your true passions, and live with deeper purpose. Remember, life is too short, and the world is too vast to live in fear of other people's opinions. Focus on finding and living your true purpose with full dedication. Let go of the constant hunger for validation, and you'll create space for real self-discovery. This process brings you closer to yourself, helping you understand what truly matters, and leads you to a life filled with greater peace, fulfillment, and contentment. Number 9. Stop comparing yourself to others. One of the easiest traps we fall into is comparing ourselves to those around us. Comparing our looks, our success, our happiness, even our timing in life. But this habit only feeds feelings of jealousy, insecurity, and frustration. Buddhism teaches us that comparison is a form of attachment, and attachment always leads to suffering. When you spend too much time measuring yourself against others, you lose sight of your own unique journey and the progress you've made along the way. Buddha wisely said, "Health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth, and faithfulness the best relationship." This reminds us that true richness doesn't come from having more than others. It comes from being content within ourselves. When you are truly content with who you are and what you have, you experience deep peace. But when you compare yourself to others, you create a mindset of scarcity, always focusing on what's missing instead of appreciating the blessings you already hold. In today's world, social media makes comparison easier than ever. We scroll through polished vacation photos, luxury lifestyles, and success stories, and it's easy to feel like we're falling behind. But what we often forget is that those pictures only show the highlights, not the real struggles, fears, or challenges that everyone faces behind the scenes. Everyone's journey is different. Comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to someone else's highlight reel is a quick way to lose your joy. Buddhism invites us to return inward, to be present, mindful, and grateful for our own lives. Instead of looking outward, turn inward. Notice your own growth. Celebrate your own victories. The more you practice mindfulness and gratitude, the more you'll realize how far you've come, and the less you'll feel the need to compare. Comparison often leads to competition, which breeds jealousy and resentment, emotions that Buddhism teaches us to avoid because they cloud the heart and disturb the mind. When you're always competing, you're never satisfied. You miss the simple joys of living authentically and honoring your own path. Remember, everyone's journey unfolds differently. Someone else's success does not diminish your own potential. A key teaching in Buddhism is the idea of right livelihood, living a life of balance, purpose, and harmony. Part of that harmony is accepting that your life doesn't need to look like anyone else's to be beautiful, meaningful, and fulfilling. When you stop comparing and start living by your own values and dreams, you step into a life that is uniquely yours, filled with genuine peace and deep contentment. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you find true contentment. Your sense of worth no longer depends on external achievements or someone else's standards. It becomes rooted in your own inner peace and self-acceptance. Social comparison distracts you from what really matters. You may find yourself chasing goals or possessions you don't even truly want, simply because you see others doing it. But Buddhism reminds us that real happiness isn't found in outward achievements. It comes from understanding yourself and walking your own path. Chasing after what others have can lead you away from what your heart truly desires. By practicing non-attachment, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of comparison. This doesn't mean you shouldn't have dreams or ambitions. It simply means recognizing that your worth isn't based on outshining others. Your value comes from living honestly and authentically according to your own journey. When you understand this, you release the pressure to constantly measure yourself against others, and you create space for true joy and fulfillment. Another important truth: comparison drains your most precious resources, your time and your energy. The time you spend thinking about someone else's success could be better used to nurture your own growth and happiness. Instead of envying what others have achieved, ask yourself, how can I grow today? What changes can I make that feel meaningful to me? When you focus on your own progress, you start noticing your growth. You begin to see your potential clearly, and this naturally builds your confidence and self-respect. Life isn't a race. Each person moves at their own pace, faces their own unique challenges, and learns their own lessons. What truly matters is not how you compare to others, but how faithful you are to your own path. When you stop comparing and start honoring your personal journey, you'll find a peace and fulfillment that no outside achievement can match. Number 10, choose inner growth over seeking approval. In today's world, we are constantly encouraged to seek validation from the outside, whether it's praise from family, recognition at work, or likes and comments on social media. We often look to others to tell us that we are enough. But Buddhism teaches a different way. Real peace and happiness are found within, not outside. The more we chase external approval, the further we drift from our true selves. When you base your worth on how others see you, you fall into a never-ending cycle of dissatisfaction and self-doubt. As Buddha wisely said, "What you think, you become." This simple but powerful truth reminds us that our inner world shapes our outer reality. When you focus on nurturing your own growth, building self-awareness, and strengthening your mindset, you naturally become more content, stronger, and more grounded. On the other hand, when you constantly seek approval from others, you become a prisoner to their opinions, handing over your happiness to forces beyond your control. Buddhism teaches that the path to true fulfillment and enlightenment is paved with self-awareness, mindfulness, and inner transformation. By working on yourself from within, you can find a peace and satisfaction that no amount of external praise can ever provide. The need for external approval often comes from the ego, the part of us that craves attention, recognition, and status. But here's the thing, the ego is never satisfied. No matter how much admiration you receive, the ego will always demand more, pulling you into a cycle of endless chasing that ultimately leaves you feeling empty. Buddhism encourages us to rise above the ego by turning inward. Fulfillment comes from cultivating self-awareness, mindfulness, and compassion, not from chasing after external applause. The more you focus on your personal growth, the quieter the ego becomes, and the less you rely on others to define your worth. When you focus inward, you begin to see that true success isn't measured by trophies, titles, or public approval. It's measured by how much you've grown in character and spirit. Are you more patient than you were yesterday? Are you more compassionate, more mindful, more at peace? These are the true signs of progress, and they come from within. External validation, on the other hand, is fleeting. It can disappear as quickly as it arrives, leaving you constantly searching for the next dose of approval. By focusing on your inner development, you build resilience, a strength that no outside opinion can shake. When your self-worth is rooted in your personal growth, not in others' judgments, criticism and rejection lose their power over you. You know who you are, and you no longer need others to confirm it. This inner strength is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Choosing personal growth over the pursuit of external approval leads to a life that is more peaceful, authentic, and deeply fulfilling. When you stop worrying about what others think, you gift yourself the freedom to live according to your own values and desires. You no longer feel pressured to meet someone else's expectations or to fit into society's ever-changing standards. Instead, you live a life that is true to who you are, and that authenticity brings not just peace, but also deeper, more meaningful relationships. People are naturally drawn to those who are at ease with themselves, those who live with integrity and self-assurance. A core teaching of Buddhism is the idea of impermanence, the understanding that everything in life is temporary and constantly changing. This includes external validation. The praise and recognition you receive today can disappear tomorrow. Chasing after something so fleeting only leads to frustration, anxiety, and discontent. Inner growth, however, is different. The wisdom, self-awareness, and emotional resilience you cultivate through personal development are treasures that no one can ever take away from you. They are lasting qualities that stay with you, guiding you through every stage of life. Another important Buddhist concept is equanimity, maintaining inner calm and emotional balance no matter what happens around you. When you focus on inner growth, you naturally develop this powerful sense of steadiness. Praise or criticism no longer controls your emotions because your self-worth is rooted in something far deeper: your own inner peace and self-awareness. This emotional balance allows you to navigate life's highs and lows with greater grace and confidence. Focusing on your own growth doesn't mean ignoring the world or becoming isolated. It means recognizing that the most important work you will ever do is the work you do within yourself. When you prioritize personal growth, you naturally become a better friend, a more loving partner, a wiser community member. You bring more patience, compassion, and understanding into all your relationships, and you quietly inspire others to begin their own journeys of self-discovery. Inner growth is not selfish. It is the foundation for a more harmonious, peaceful, and fulfilling life, not only for yourself, but for everyone around you. When you dedicate yourself to your inner development, you unlock a happiness that is real, lasting, and truly yours. External validation might give you a moment of satisfaction, but it's fleeting, and it always depends on others. Inner growth, on the other hand, brings a joy that lasts, because it's built on your own efforts, your own self-awareness, and your own resilience. When you stop relying on the approval of others to feel good about yourself, you unlock a powerful freedom. You no longer need permission to shine. You step fully into your potential and embrace a life of true self-empowerment. Thank you for walking this inward journey with us today. Remember, true freedom begins within. When you stop seeking validation, when you embrace solitude, and when you dedicate yourself to personal growth, you open the door to a life filled with deep peace, true purpose, and authentic joy. If this message touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need a little extra peace in their life. Stay grounded, stay true to who you are, and until we meet again, may your journey to inner peace be filled with strength, wisdom, and light.